Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining us. Tonight is the Town Board work session and special budget public hearing. We will be starting, we're a little bit late on the public hearing. We'll be starting the budget public hearing at 7 o'clock on general fund, highway fund, and special districts. Would you please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. I have a couple of announcements this evening. First of all, I'd like to thank our highway people, our police department, our first responders, and yes, even Central Hudson. Hurricane Sandy hit us not nearly as bad as other areas of the state, but I know they did a lot of damage to the trees and the power lines in the town of East Fishkill. But our guys and our men and women really stepped up to it. And I know I was without power for 4 days, but by Friday, I think we had 95, Central Hudson said we have 95% of the people in the town of East Fishkill were back on with power. Countywide, it was worse. And they, as they said, Central Hudson said on the conference call, they had to wrap up because they had to move down to Westchester, Putnam, and towards the city because of all the devastation. And when you see what happened down there, you realize how lucky we were up here with what we got. But I do want to thank our first responders, our highway, and our police because I think they did a terrific job. Second, I would just like to make an announcement that our assessor has gotten an award, Kathy Martin, and our assessors department. Kathy is actually the president of the Dutchess County Association of Assessors, so she's a very good assessor, and we got recognized by the New York State Department of Taxation and Finance for efforts to provide property owners with fair and equitable assessments on the 2012 tax roll. So we're very proud of our assessors. I do think they do a good job. And if anybody ever has any questions about their taxes or their assessment, please, a lot of people come in, they say, well, we're going to grieve, we're going to grieve. They're very good in there. Stop in, ask them, is my assessment correct? They'll talk to you, they'll look at it. If it needs to be corrected, we'll correct it. And if it's right, they'll explain to you what basis they say it's right. They're very good, and we just aim to be fair and equitable. So we're very happy with that. Lastly, I'd like to mention, I think it was about probably around 6-8 weeks ago, there's a home invasion up on Stormville Mountain. Very terrible crime. Somebody broke into a house. I don't want to really go into the details too much, but and the trail went cold. It happened one night. It was reported. I know it was on the news. It was in the papers. And I have to thank our Town of East Fishkill Police Department, the Putnam County Sheriff, and Dutchess County Sheriff. But our East Fishkill Police Department was really the ones that caught the perpetrator. And I tell you, a lot of people up in Stormville were very, very concerned after that crime. I just wanted to thank the police department for their efforts. They do a great job, and they handled it very professionally and very sensitively. So very, very good job by the Town of East Fishkill Police Department. With that, that's the end of my announcements. Do I have a motion to open the public hearing on the town budget?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. The public hearing is now open. Just a little bit about the public hearing, about the budget. What a budget is, every year we have to do a budget. By law, I have to submit it, the tentative budget to the town board. I do that by September 30th. Town board this year got it. I submit it to the town clerk by September 30th. Then the town clerk submits it to the town board, becomes a preliminary budget. This year it was done by October 3rd. The comptroller, Mark Posniak, and myself polled all the departments. We look at expenses typically going back 3 years to see what the expenses are. We try to project forward what revenue is going to be, what the expenses are going to be, and then we present it to the town board for their review. One thing I would like to mention, and I don't have my pie charts this year, I kind of forgot. When I talk about the town budget, for instance, if you live in the Wappinger Central School District, of your total tax bill, county, town, fire, library, and school, the town in the Wappinger Central School District is only 14% of your entire tax bill. Just put that in perspective. So the budget that we that we work off of to provide the services which we provide, being police protection, maintaining town roads, the police department, and the other services that we do, is really only based on about 14% of your total tax bill if you're in the Wapner Central School District. Mark and I worked very hard with our departments to get what we think is a good budget, submitted to the town board, who then had whatever time up till now to sit down, call, discuss with the comptroller, any questions, any concerns they had with the budget, and I know everyone has sat down or called Mark to talk about the budget. So that being said, the budget that we presented, Mark, the actual, if you would like to give a little summary of the actual, I know we have a summary sheet here.
Sure. So the total appropriations included in this year's budget for general and highway are $16,787,186, which represents only a small increase over last year's appropriations. We're raising taxes by a total of about 3.27% in total. That's largely going to reduce the amount of fund balance that we're appropriating. A little bit of it is covering the small increase in expenditures, but the predominance of it is going to reduce our reliance on fund balance, which is our savings account, essentially.
Yeah, we have what we call a rainy day fund. Over the years, we've built up a certain amount of money, like a rainy day fund, and when times get tough, we use some of that to balance our budget.
And the increase does conform to the New York State tax cap.
The famous 2% tax cap.
The famous 2%
We're
tax
within,
cap.
we're within the famous 2% tax cap, which is really not a 2% tax cap. It is a 2% tax cap plus a couple of extras that you're allowed,
2%
correct?
modified by a variety of
Yeah, a
things.
growth factor,
A growth factor.
something. And I think if anybody looks at it, I know if anybody's followed any of the other towns or cities, when you look at the budgets, the biggest expenses that have gone up is the health care, health benefits, and the pension costs, both of which we really have no control over. We're trying to work out things with our insurance companies to handle our benefits, but, and New York State, their pension, they just sent us a bill, should be coming this month,
Yes,
will be due 2 months from now.
in December.
Yeah,
Yep.
and it's simply a bill. New York State sends us a bill, and I think this year it's going to be about 1.2 million, 1.3 million.
About 1.3.
Yeah, yeah, and I think when I took office, I think it was about $650,000.
It's grown significantly.
It's
over the
grown
last 5 years.
significantly, yeah. So these are some of the things that we have absorbed over the years just to, but we still maintain the services and do our best to keep the taxes fair for everybody. So, that being said, Mark, would you like to add anything else?
No, only that I think it's a very responsible budget. I think the town board has shown strong fiscal policy over the years, and town of
Fiscal
East-
restraint, we call it.
fiscal restraint, if you will, when necessary.
Yeah.
And the town is in good shape, and our goal is to keep it that way.
Yeah, yeah, I think, in my opinion, I think the town of East Fishkill is probably one of the most financially solvent towns in Dutchess County. So, but that's my opinion, and I might be a little bit biased. So that being said, is there anybody on the board, any questions or any comments on the special district, highway, or the general fund? I know everybody's pretty much already discussed the budget with the controller.
Yeah, I discussed several things with the controller. He's very helpful. Thank you, Mark. The question about sales tax revenues. We don't know when that cap will end, right?
As
From
far as I
the
know, it's an
county.
open-ended
Yeah.
cap, so
So next year, if projected or actual, say it was $2 million, no matter what, we get $1.3 million.
1.34 million, right? And to provide a comparison, last year, we got about 1.6 million in sales tax revenues. So, we're losing about 250,000 based on that
Yeah.
standard.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that probably everybody's read about in the paper or seen on Cablevision, that our county is in serious fiscal straits. And they called Mark and myself up to county office building, and we met, and we said, what could this be about? And Mark said, probably sales tax. I said, they wouldn't touch our sales tax. Well, Mark was right. The county's capped the sales taxes of everybody, all towns and cities and villages too, I guess, towns, cities, and villages in Dutchess County. So, where last year we got 1.6 million, this year we're capped at 1.34 million. Yeah, it's just another little bump in the road. And as you said, the county executive, when we talked about his program to help his budget, he said this is going to be, this is only temporary, but nothing was ever said about how temporary it was going to be. So we'll see how it goes. But, yeah, that's a serious impediment to our budget, but we worked through this, and we're still good.
And we're just constantly looking at ways to be more efficient. So when there's an opportunity to save money, that's
Yeah,
what
I
we're
mean-
for. That's how we make up these losses in revenues. And
Yep, and it never stops. We did the computers on salt spreaders, a highway. We did all the lights in the town hall and all the government buildings. We're going to talk about a new telephone system next week, which right off the bat won't save us money, but within a few years will start saving us money. And
exactly.
everywhere we turn, we do whatever we can to do things better.
So between that and the loss of revenue from the pilot program, we probably wouldn't have to use any of the fund balance.
Yeah, that's not a bad way to look at it, that if we had been able to sustain our pilot and our sales tax revenues, we would not be appropriating any fund balance next year.
But to be honest, we never really do know if we're going to appropriate fund balance until we close the books.
We
at
don't
the
know
end
how
of the
much
year.
we'll actually appropriate. In budgets historically, we've appropriated as much as $1.2 million. We don't typically use that much, but again, the goal is to not appropriate any and only use it if necessary in an unusual.
Yeah, that's our savings or rainy day fund. I think last year we were supposed to appropriate $770,000. Is that what it was?
$925,000,
We
that's
didn't-
this year, no, $725 was last year, and
Yeah.
we didn't end up.
And we didn't use any of it, correct? So it's kind of like that cushion you always want to have, you never want to use.
Right.
But you start using it, it goes quickly.
How are we looking at this year's budget, one we're in right now?
Yeah,
We're close?
it's actually, everything's coming in pretty well on target. Mortgage taxes are slightly low, but not too bad. Sales tax is okay this year, but next year we'll take the hit. And expenditures are all on target. So,
Yeah. All right, that being said, is there anybody in the audience? Would you like to start first with the special district budget? Special district budgets? Anybody is here on any of the special district budgets? If you'd like to come up, you'd have to come up to the microphone. The special districts, and just let me run through them really quickly. We have several: Hopewell Junction Lighting, Hillside Lake Lighting, Eric Lighting, Dogwood Knolls Lighting, Beekman Lighting, Hillside Lake Park, Loma Park, Revere Park Water, Pinewood Knolls Water, Taconic Estate Water, Little Switzerland Water, Hamlet Water 2, Brettview Water, Brettview 2, bear with me a moment. Shenandoah Water, Fishkill Plains Water, Hopewell Glen Water, Four Corners Water, Hopewell Hamlet Sewer, Wildflower Extension, Sagamore Sewer, Beekman Sewer, Four Corners Sewer, Hopewell Glen Drainage, and Hopewell Glen Sidewalk is our special districts. Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, my name is Lillian Durkash,
Yeah.
and I live in the Pinewood Knolls Water District, the first one that the town took over of 44 homes, many, many, many moons ago.
Yeah.
I've been living in the home for 44 years and paying water bills through. Very happy to hear that we got a second well. My house is the highest in the neighborhood, and I
Yeah.
would be the first to run
Out.
out of water. But you also put a generator in,
Mm-hmm.
and we're very happy about that, too. However,
Oh, but we're not happy about something.
yes, I would like to know what is being planned, and possibly a few months ago, we received letters about an insurance company that was
Oh,
going
I
around that.
think, yeah, I think that was a
And whether that was
scam.
going to be applicable to our district.
Was that the one that said, call us about your insurance?
Yeah, I took
yeah.
it with me, and I wrote, "Not
Yeah.
interested." Sounds phony baloney to me.
Yeah, it is. We
So,
called the Attorney General, and they were aware of that, actually.
okay, but it applied for people that did not own their own wells.
Mm-hmm.
And so I thought that perhaps something was being planned in our water district that I would be concerned about. And the budget and
Yeah.
whether there'd be another increase in the price of water.
Yeah,
And I would like you to take the sign off our neighborhood saying, "Save water," because I've been saving
Oh.
water and I'm still
Did
getting.
they still leave that up there, Lily?
Yes, because
Okay.
whether you use 7,000 gallons, you have to pay for 9,000 gallons, whether.
It's the
And that,
minimum.
I've been saving all along.
Okay.
And I've been paying
All
for the
along.
higher price. So, well, it all equals out, you know, so I do a second wash on my laundry and it gets cleaner now because I have to pay for 9,000, so I think that sign is out of place.
Okay, we'll remove that
We save
sign.
water and we don't get a benefit from it.
No, no.
Yes.
I think,
Okay.
Mark, in Pinewood, there was no
There's
increase?
no increase in either taxes or
Yeah.
water rates. So,
No, but we do have to pay if there's any
no, point
work.
taken, there is a minimum.
Right, and
9,000
sometimes
gallons.
to my tax bill, when I get it, it's over $400. However, you get your, every 3 months that you pay for your water.
Yeah.
And it has gone up like everything else, but no other complaints.
Yeah.
We've had a lot of trees coming down in our area, and I was glad to see upon arriving back in Hopewell Junction that you have a place now that's a little closer where we can bring our dead wood. And I was just wondering whether we were going to possibly
Yeah.
plan to have another pickup service.
Oh, no, I don't think, Lily, in
Yeah.
this, in any
Yeah.
budget in the next 20 years, we'll see
Well,
a
my son
pickup.
has a truck, and the neighbors that don't have trucks, you
Yeah.
know, and he says, "Mom, don't make it known I'm available."
Oh, no kidding.
Yes.
So she's
Okay,
announcing it on TV.
I know. Yeah.
And his phone number's what?
Thank you, Lily,
you.
thank you. Yeah. And now that that's been brought up, I would like to say that after the storm, we did open up, we bought the property across the street to use for several different activities, one of them being brush drop-off. We opened up the Wednesday after the Hurricane Sandy, and we will have it open from 7:30 to 4 to take storm damage material. We're not charging anybody for it. We're up till for November 17th, from 7:30 in the morning till 4. And today, we've already accepted 571 loads of storm debris, one of which may have been yours. So, great, thank you. Thank you very much. Anybody else like to speak or ask any questions on any of the special district budgets? Okay, there being none, I'll do this a little bit backwards. We can go into the highway budget. Does anybody have any questions or comments or concerns on the Town of East Fishkill highway budget? And I would like to know if everybody got a copy of the summary, because I'd like to thank the comptroller. I think he did a good job with the summary of the town budget and how the money is being spent. Okay, with that, does anybody in the audience like to ask any questions or speak on the general fund budget? The general fund, which being the budget that maintains most of the activities of the town of East Fishkill. Yes?
I just want to check that in recreation, the fees and the various rates that we put in went through, for example, Camp, Red Wing, because I have this copy and has the general, but just to make sure.
I don't think we've set the fees yet, have we?
No. Yeah.
We'll set the fees
We
next year.
don't actually set the rates with the budget. I make guesses based on what you
Okay, like what we're
tell
going
me
to
what
charge
the
for
rates will
camp
be.
and, okay.
That's right.
We based it on last year's revenues. We'll look at this year, base it upon that.
Okay, because I was at a meeting with other recreation directors yesterday, and our fees are very much fair. In fact, compared to some other towns, we're very, very fair.
Okay.
So,
So that means we should raise them?
well, I did propose that we did raise them, but I also mentioned, because people have approached us about if you have more than 2 kids going to an event, like, say, summer camp, some of the other camps, what they do is they'll give a half price for the 3rd and 4th. We've never done that in the past. It's something we were discussing. Because when you're talking $350 times 4 kids, I think we proposed $350. So, and they do that. But,
Okay, something to consider.
and also in the budget, too, there were 2 things in here for the teen camp. I see you put in for 35,000. It didn't work out last year. I would think that we would try it for a 2-week period rather than the 4 to see how it works, instead of jumping and proposing to do the whole thing.
Okay.
And just something to think about.
Right. Did you get a notice? All department heads got a notice about the budget. Did you submit that?
No, I
That
just,
that idea? I mean, that's a great idea.
I just saw
That's-
it now.
Oh, okay, okay.
Because that came in,
Oh, yeah, why don't we talk about it? If you think that's a better way to do it, absolutely.
just, and then if it works out this year, we can,
Yeah.
double it next year.
Oh, absolutely, no, it's no problem with that,
And
Bill.
the other thing, Ethel, is we talked about community days, and I think we're being forced this year to be late in September. Wappingers moved to June last year, and they had a total bust. No one showed up. They're going to be in September again. The only community day that went well into the evening was Beekman, because they do it in July, and they have swimming, and they go from like 9 in the morning to 11 at night. Everyone else pretty much ends around 5:30. So that's something we discussed. You might want to look for the future, maybe starting the parade earlier, ending it earlier. And,
Okay, well, this is about the budget. Certainly, we will be looking
well,
at
that's
all
in the
this stuff.
budget under celebration.
Understood,
Yeah,
understood.
okay.
We'll be looking at all this stuff after the first year when we start to set rates, working on the community day schedule and all that. Yeah.
Okay. The other thing I mentioned at the rec meeting, we did put September 21st as the community day and April 6th as the cleanup for next year. Opening day will be April 13th, so we can start promoting that to the leagues and teams and scout groups and community service. It's a day to put down to help us. We'll probably be shoveling snow in, because Easter is very early this year, and our Easter egg hunt is like, I believe it's going to be March 23rd. So with the weather, I mean, we've had 2 Halloweens, we had a snowstorm and a hurricane, so next year we're planning on maybe a tornado. So, thank you.
Okay, great, thank you. And Bill, these ideas that you, about the camp and stuff like that, I think that's a great idea. So let's talk about it further. We get down to setting these programs up for next year, absolutely. I think that sounds real good.
I'll just add that we budgeted team camp as a break-even activity, so if we scale it down, as long as we still break even, it doesn't matter, it's no.
Very good. Thank you, Mark. Anybody else in the audience would like to speak on the general town budget? Anybody in the town board? Do I have a motion to close the public hearing on the general town budget?
So moved.
Second? Second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. The public hearing is now closed. Do you want to take a vote on it, or do you want to wait till next week? I mean...
You have to wait for the next one.
Oh, we do have to wait till next week? Oh, okay. Oh, that's right. We have the date. Thank you. So next week, we'll vote on accepting the budget. Okay. Very good. And the only other thing, because I knew we were going to have the budget public hearing tonight, I did want to talk a little bit about the Cannon property. We've put together a volunteer group to work on the Cannon property conceptual plans across the street. We did have our town planner involved with them, a gentleman from the planning board, a gentleman from the CAC, one of our local historians is on the board, and our town engineers trying to herd them all together, keep them moving in the same direction. And I think they've made some good conceptual plans. So I think the next meeting, we'll have the plans, we'll put them up on the screen so everybody can take a look at it. Brush drop-off is working out very well over there, and we're drilling more wells for water, correct, Scott?
Yes, we are.
Yep, we're finding a lot of water, but we're finding,
Continuing the search, yes.
yeah, but we're finding some of that silty stuff still, so, but we'll be drilling,
But now we're moving east of the Fishkill Creek, so hopefully that...
we'll get a better spot for them. Plus, we will be coming in to drill the rock wells within the next 2 weeks.
Yes.
All right, that sounds good.
Get some water from Lillian.
What's that?
You can get some water from Lillian.
fracking in our area?
No, we don't frack, Lily, we don't frack here. All right, I really had nothing else on the agenda tonight, so that's it. Is there anything, any discussion of the town board being a work session, anything you'd like to bring up? No? Ethel?
I'm good.
Peter? Nope. Nick? No. I would like to thank the town board, and I would like to thank our comptroller for really going through this budget line by line. I think they've done a great job. I think we have a very good budget. and I do think we are in very good shape, the town of East Fishkill. So thank you for all of your hard work. And with that, we'll close the workshop, and the next town board meeting will be next week, November 15th, at which time we'll adopt the budget as seen. So, all right, with that, thank you everybody for coming in, and that's it.